In this video, we're going to focus on how we can create an individual legend here, or basically a legend for every individual bar here, that when we click on it, it will hide it, and you can see here the effect is nicely in here. And if we click all of these, we can hide them all, and of course we can show them all again. So let's start to explore how we can do this. So let's start to explore how to create a legend for each bar in the bar chart in Chartjs. So the first thing what we need to do here is to grab our default code. Make sure you go to chartjs3.com, getting started, this specific link here above, which you can also find in the description box. So I'm going to copy this entire chunk of code, and if you want to understand what this code does, please watch this video that explains it all. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to just paste this in here, and once I paste that in here, I'm going to cut out this, paste that in there. Save this, refresh. There we are. So now we have a bar chart, but of course we need to have 7 different legend boxes here. And what we want to do as well is to want to create the effect like this, but also have this strike through effect here. So how do we do this? Well, we have to scroll down here, and if we scroll down, we're going to click here on the options, put an enter here, say plugins, and we're going to work in the legend itself, basically the legend object. So what we're going to do first is to create a new legend that is customized to our desire. So what we want to have is basically legend, 7 boxes with the colors and of course with the text. So let's do that one first. So to do this, we need to generate our own legend, and luckily Chartjs has the generateLabels functionality. So we're going to put in here not even like that. I'm getting ahead of myself. First of all, we're going to focus on the labels because that's what we want to generate. And then we say here, generate labels. Make sure there's capital L here. And this is what we call a callback functionality. So we're going to put in a colon, then we type in a chart. And because it's a callback functionality, it is basically a function. So we need to say here a function arrow expression. So in here, what we're going to do is the following. What we want to do here is basically create the legend. So to do this, we need to use the array map functionality. But let me first do here console log, and then I noted that I just typed it. I want to copy that. We do console log here, and then we just want to show what is in this chart item here, or this chart argument. So if I refresh, open up developer tab, alright, we have a syntax error on 93. Make sure you have a comma there, save that, refresh, and now it works nicely. You can see the legend is not being displayed because now it generates a legend, but we didn't put any code in there, so it doesn't generate anything at all. However, if I click on here, you will see here we have a lot of information here. And what I need here is basically the following. I need to go here in my data, so I'm going to search here for data, which is this data object, click on that. And then what we want to do here is, well, you can see already, we grab here the data labels. On the labels, you can see a Monday, and this is a nice array. And later on, we also need, in the dataset 0, because we only have one dataset, the background color and the border color. There we are. So these are essential for us. So first of all, I want to just extract the data labels. So to do this, all we're going to do here is, because we need to loop through these arrays, and every value we need to be shown, but also what we need to know is next, based on the value here, we want to have also the index number here, and this index number matches nicely with the data set here with the border color. As you can see, Monday equals red, Tuesday equals blue, and that's all nicely matched. So that means that we can use this later on in our functionality. So what we're going to do now is the following. We're going to say here, I'm going to say here the return. What I'm going to do is I want to return a value, but it will be based on the array map method. So we say here chart.data.labels. Remember, that's where we get these labels with the array. And then what I want to do here, I will say here .map. And .map gives us the option to loop through all of these items. So what we need to do here, make sure we have these parentheses here, and then we put in here a arrow. So, and we have that. Make sure you have this, because later on we're going to put another parentheses here, But what we want to do here is the following. I want to say here two values. First of all, I want the label, which is just basically the item here, the label value here. Secondly, what I want is the index number, because I need to have the index number as well. So when we loop through that, we get Monday, and we also get the index number of 0 matching with that. So then what I want to do here is the following. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to put in here another parentheses, and here another one. So pay attention here. Oh, that was not what I wanted, sorry. That is the way we have to do it. Alright, so pay attention here. So what I really did was the following. Let's put this parentheses down. So we have like this here. And this one here, if I put it like that, that's probably the most easiest way to see. This one is nested within here, and these here are all in. So the reason I'm doing this here, because here we will have multiple object values. So that's why I'm doing that. So what I'm going to do here is the following. I want to say here the text, because the generateLabels has the option to put in the specific text, and the text will be the label text, comma. And then next, what I want here is the stroke, the stroke style, and the stroke style is basically built on the lines. So this is very important. So this is the border line. So if you think about canvas, you have the you think about painting, but the canvas as well is in theme of painting, and then a line or border line with your brush or with your paintbrush is called a brush stroke. So when you are painting and you make a line with your brush, it's a brush stroke, and this is basically focused on the same theme. That's why they call the stroke style here, because it is a brush stroke or a borderline color. Alright, so how do we get this one here? Well, basically, we have to go here and get the same item. And maybe what's even better is, before I even get ahead of myself, I just want to save this and just show you here right now what we have. We should have already now just the text, but of course we are missing still the color. So let's continue on with the border style or the stroke style. So to get this, what I need is basically in here chart data. And you can see here as well, we go here to chart, so you go scroll down here to data object, and then in the data object you can go here to datasets, datasets index 0, and then from the dataset index 0 we're going to select here the border color. This is not the border color, this is the border color. And here of course we have a number, and that is our index number that we have here. So let me show you. We're going to say here datasets 0 dot, and then we say here the border color, and the border color we want to grab here the specific border color index. We type in here the index. So when we do this, save that, refresh, we should see now a nice adjusted border color. So the next one of course is our, not the border color, but the background color. Same methodology, background color. So if I save this here, refresh, alright, what happened here? So let me explain why it happens here. Because of the stroke style. Of course here we're not allowed to focus on the stroke, because the stroke is the border lines. And now if you want to have a background color, we want to fill the entire shape. Basically what we're really doing is filling up this square now, and first we just surround it with a border. So we're going to say a fill. If I save this now, it works beautifully. Alright, so now of course as you can see, as we click on it, it doesn't function correctly. So what I want to do here, or at least later on what we're going to do here, is basically we're going to put in a hidden. We're going to work on it later on. So by default this is set on false, and the reason why we need to do this later on is because we want to have a so-called click functionality. Well, or we can even do it now, I guess. There will be no problem at all. So we have this here, and you will see this probably somewhere in here, or you don't even see it here. That's alright, doesn't matter so much. But what I want to do is I'll do it later on, because then you can clearly see how this impacted and how we can combine this together. So we have this legend here, but now what we want to do is what we call the on-click functionality. So we're going to say on and click with capital C. This is a special built-in click object basically, or a click function callback, which is an object but also a function at the same time that registers a click. So we're going to use this And this is just from Chartjs itself. So that's very easy, and they simplify it for us. So what we're going to do now here is the following. We're going to put in here a callback. This is a callback, but we'll register the event, the legend item, and you're going to see that the legend item here will be whatever we have in here, and this will be very important later on. And next we have the legend. And what I want to do here, I want to put an arrow, and then we say, of course, this is the callback functionality. I'll put a comma here, and what I'm going to do now is the following. First of all, let's do a console log, just to see what is everything here we have. We have here 3 arguments, and what are these arguments showing? So if I save this, and then, oh, I don't want to do that, I want to refresh here. And then if I click now, you can see what is happening. It registers the click. But what it registers, well, it registers everything what we need to know. However, this click event for us is not that important. What is more important will be these other two, because we need to figure out now how can we hide something or show something. So if I save this now, refresh here, and now if I click on this, you can see here we get all the values we have already here. Text align, undefined, text Monday, stroke style. This is hidden. This is everything what we had in here. And what is for us very important will be the text here. This Monday here. This one will help us later on with the array to indicate which index we have clicked on. So that's why what I want to do here is I want to say a dot text. Save that one. And you can see here now we understand where we have clicked on. So we're going to keep this one, but I'll just do it. I will comment it out for now because we'll be using that later on. And then next is the legend. So if I save this now and then refresh, if I click here again, we'll get this here, and this here allows us to get all the information we need. And what we really need in here is basically the following. I'm going down here. Let's see, we need a chart, and then we're going to scroll down here, and all I want is the following. Go look for the data object that is here. You can see here, and the reason I want this, I want to grab here this labels. Why I need this is because I need to understand if I click on Monday, on which index are we, and that's how I can figure it out. What I'm going to do is I'm going to look here for the index of with the index of method in JavaScript. So what I'm going to do here, first of all, let's grab this. So we have here the chart.data.labels. So I'm going to say here legend.chart.data.labels. So if I save this now, refresh, we will just get the entire array. Alright, so this looks beautiful. And of course now, with this, the upper one, we can now start to compare. So let's start to compare and get the index number here. So to do this, what we need to do here is the following. I'm going to say here constant, and this constant we call the index because I want to extract the index. And all I want to do here is I'm going to grab this labels, put it in here, and then we say here dot index of. And index of is the array method that starts to search for a value with that array. So for example, in this case, I want to search, well, you can see here, if I would type in Thursday, what will happen is it will recognize Thursday here. So I'm going to say, do it like this, and then it will indicate what is the index number of that. That's basically what it does. So if I save this and refresh, click here on Thursday, and right now we have hard-coded Thursday. That's why it's always on number 3, which is correct because Monday is 0, this is Tuesday is 1, Wednesday is 2, and Thursday is 3. You can see it here as well. This shows it nicely. So what I want to do, of course, here is now just get the index number of this item here. So whatever text we click on here, convert this into the right index number. So now I click 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Alright, so this all works. So now I can just remove all of this, and then remove this one as well, and now start to work on the final item. And what I really want here is basically the following functionality, which is also built in Chartjs. So we say legend, chart, and then we say here toggle data visibility based on the index. And we need to use here parentheses because this is a function. And then the index number would be index. And once we do this, what I want to do then is a legend.chart.update to update the chart with this after we have clicked this. So if I save this now, refresh, click on this, and there we are. So now we have this nicely working. But of course, we're not done yet. Why? Final one is a stripe through effect. So for that, we're going back here into the labels. And then in here, what I want to do here is the following. I'm going to create here an array. So we're going to say here enter, and then we're going to say here the following. We say here let visibility, and then this will be an array. But this array is blank. We're going to loop through this array, and then we want to check if it's hidden, false, or true. Because if we set this on true and save that, refresh, you can see here, look at this, this is working. But of course, how do we make sure that this works correctly? So for that, what I need to do is basically use one of the features, which is called the, well, I can show it to you here. Let me show you this here. I'm going to say here legend.chart, and we say dot, this is the, let me double check, that's the get data visibility, and then here could be the index. So if I do this and save this and do a console log here, you'll see that here it will not work as how we want it, because we need to do it in the generateLabels. But I want to just show it to you. So if I save this here, make sure you save it correctly. Alright, so now you can see here, but if I click on this, it shows you true and false. Let me just do hide the console logs here. That's this one. Save that, refresh, click, click. Alright, so this is starting to recognize, but what we need to do here, and because this just doesn't want to work, and even if you would say, well, if I just copy this, put it in here, and then we just say here we have the index, save that, refresh, you see we get, legend is on the index, because we need to remove the legend. I do it like this, you click on that, and then this works. But of course, what happens, we get what we call the opposite, or the opposite effect. As you can see here, it is strike true when it's shown, but when I click on this, it's now false. So what we need to do is we need to revert that, because what is happening is basically reading it at the very end. So is it showing, or sorry, at the very beginning? If I click on it, what happened now, it says true, but basically it is false. And the reason why it's false is because it will first check, is it showing yes or no? It says, oh, it's hiding. And then when you click on it, it will start to show. But of course, the register of the code was started at the very beginning, so it doesn't re-update this correctly. So what we need to do is we need to do an opposite effect here. So that's why this doesn't work here, but we need to create our own array here, and from there on, we're going to convert them exactly to the opposite. So what we're going to do here is we're going to do a for loop. And the reason why we need the for loop is we need to loop through 7 items, or how many items we have. Because remember, we have here multiple items with multiple labels. So what we're going to do here, for loop, and here I will say let I equal 0, semicolon, and then we say I will keep on looping I as long as, and then we have to get here, basically, we want to grab the labels, so we can just grab this one here, put that in there, and then we say dot length. Because why? It will calculate how many labels we have, calculate the length, which would be 7. So then here, and then we do I++. Doing this, now we can start to work on this. And then once we have this for loop here, what I want to do now is, because we have this visibility array, so what we're going to do here, just basically a if statement, and we say in the if statement the following. If, and then we're going to get here basically this item, if this chart.data visibility, get data visibility, because we focus on the data, and this here cannot be an index anymore. Why? It must be I. If that is the case, or if this equals, well, let's say true, in that case, we're going to set it on false. So what I will say here is, I'll say here visibility dot push false. And then else, basically the same, but then the opposite here, else visibility push dot true. So basically when it's true, we need to set it to false, and when it's false, so or else if it will be false, then it will be set on true. That's basically what we're doing here. So once we did this, we can now grab this array here, and we could do here maybe a console log. Just do a console log or console. This is an array, so we can do a console dot table. Then you have it nicely shown here. There you are. You can see here this, and then if I click on that, it will show individually what is being updated. So now, of course, this item will be set in here. And then I can remove this table here. Let's remove also this console log just to clear up everything. And finally, just remove this one here. Save this all. Refresh. Oh, let's see here. What happened? Visibility. Alright. So the reason why it's not working here, of course, or it's still not showing, is just one tiny mistake from me. This is, of course, an array. So the array must show the index. That's why we had the table there. And if I save this now, refresh, there we are. So now if I click on it, hide, 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 there you are, show, 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 and show. There we are. And this is the way how you can create a customized label for individual for all of these. This is basically like the donut chart legend. So this is very important here. If you would have not a data set, this will not work well, or what happens is it will double both of them. It will affect both of them. So they're exactly the same as a donut chart. So if I do this and I click, yeah, there you are, you can see here, both of them will go away. So this is really designed for a single data set. That's very important to remember. So let's remove this on from now on, save that, refresh, and there we are. So if you enjoyed this video, I would highly recommend you to check out another one, which is about how to add rounded borders on your legend box labels in Chartjs, where you have unique square boxes, so you convert them into a bit more nicer type of shapes.